First of all, welcome, and thank you for being proactive with making the choice to come and see the other side of the high-low story. Today's presenters are going to be Véronique and Francine from Laval Refuse. They have been working on this for a year and a half. They're very well informed to let you know exactly what's going on.
You have two types of these meters. You have first-generation meters and second-generation meters. The first-generation meters will emit radio frequencies every 2, 5, or 30 seconds, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long. These are your new generation meters. These are the smart meters. These are the ones that have been approved by the Board of Energy for the massive deployment in the region of Montreal. These meters will emit about every 30 to 40 seconds. Contrary to the first generation meters, you do not need anyone to come and take the reading, not even close by. Everything is automated. Every meter emits and receives radio frequencies, so all of these meters communicate together, creating a smart. Your meter will then be able to read your home appliances. Okay? So not only will it create a third web of radio frequencies in your own home, but it will also be able to tell when you're cooking, when you're washing your clothes, when you get up in the morning and you open up a light, when you're at home, when you're on vacation, etc., etc. So it will permit the company to have a whole profile of your energy consumption in your home. So this is the first issue that these meters essentially what these meters attract to our private life. Okay. The second issue,
these meters have been installed, citizens have seen an increase of about 20% on their bills. Here in Quebec last year, the Journal de Montréal reported that citizens had already had to pay more where these meters have been installed. And recently, a man from Boucherville told us that it cost him $900 more for this last whole year. Lately, also, a woman from LaSalle received her first bill following the installation of the smart meter, and she saw also an increase on her bill. The thing to know here is that these persons did not change in any way their habits regarding energy consumption. You also have to know that with these meters, Hydro will be able to adopt a new tariffication system called time-use billing. That means that they will charge more during peak hours and in winter time, for example. The third issue that we want to address, and the most important one, is the health issue.
Board of Energy has stated that these new meters do not present a risk for your health because these new meters have a power density of 50 microwatts per square meter. So we're just going to remember like the 50, and that this measurement respects the limits, the exposure limits of Health Canada. Okay? Now, Hydro also says that these meters emit 50 microwatts per square meter, and that they respect the limits of Health Canada. Now, every home had received this brochure last year. Okay? I would just like to point out that, as you can see, there is a line that separates these measurements with these. Okay? And here, what we can read is that these are punctual measures. So, as I explained before, the pulse signal. Okay? So, the peak of this signal, this is what was measured here. It's an example. So it's the peak of the pulsation. Okay, and here you have the Wi-Fi, you have a cellular phone, etc. But here, when you cross over the line, what is written is that this is the average power of the device. Okay. Now, if I have a car and it's stopped on a red light, so it's at 0, and then I drive and I go up to 100 for 3 minutes. Let's say for 3 minutes I'm at 0, and for 3 minutes I'm driving at 100. I could say that I have a speed average measure. Now this average measure was actually measured on 6 minutes. So they take the average only 6 minutes, but these meters, as I said, emit 24 hours a day, all year long. Okay? Now why 6 minutes? Okay? It is because of here, the safety limits, okay? The safety limits in Canada is actually safety code 6, okay? And what it takes into account are only the thermal effects. So if your skin is not burned, it's not dangerous, okay? And they measure this in 6 minutes. So in 6 minutes, if you're not burning, if your skin is okay, then it's fine. Safety code 6 does not take into account any biological effects. And this actually came out in court recently in Châteauguay, and the Scientific and Health Canada came and admitted in court that safety code 6 only takes into account thermal effects, and in last year's the studies that went against this statement that proved that radio frequencies had caused physical effects, well, they just put the studies aside. Okay? If you want like an example, in Europe, in South Pole, they are now talking of an exposure limit of 1,000 outside of the home and about 100 inside of the home. Safety code 6, because it only takes into account thermal effects, goes up to 6